right, let's just get right into it. Yesterday, OpenAI didn't just drop a new AI model, they kicked off an absolute cultural firestorm. This is the story of Sora 2, a piece of tech that was supposed to unleash this massive creative explosion, but instead it was immediately accused of starting a Brainrot rebellion. And this quote right here, it just nails the heart of the whole controversy. I mean, almost overnight, the conversation went from, wow, look at this technology, to this really deep-seated fear about what this new tool was actually for. So, what is it? And see, this is where it all gets complicated. Sora 2 isn't just some high-end tool for Hollywood filmmakers. It's a social media app, built to feel just like TikTok or Instagram Reels, and it's designed for everybody to use. This dual identity, well, it's the source of all the hype and all of the backlash. But okay, before we get into the whole rebellion, we really need to understand what makes this technology so mind-blowing to begin with. Because, to really get why people are pushing back so hard, you have to appreciate the sheer scale of the breakthrough. This thing is a massive leap forward. I mean, just look at how Sora 2 stacks up against the old champ, which was Google's V3. Now, V3 could integrate sound, and that was huge at the time. But Sora 2, it's on a whole other level. It actually models real-world physics. We're talking things like buoyancy and stiffness, with just shocking accuracy. It keeps characters looking the same, and it can follow these really complex multi-shot instructions from just one prompt. So, to put it simply, older models were always described as a little over-optimistic, right? They'd kind of cheat to make a prompt work, like a basketball might just teleport into the hoop. Sora 2 actually tries to obey the laws of physics. It can generate dialogue and sound that syncs up, and maybe most importantly, it can keep a character looking like themselves through an entire video. And right at the center of this whole social experience is this feature that OpenAI thought was its killer app. They called it Cameo. It's simple. You create a digital version of yourself, you decide who gets to use it, and then you or your friends can just drop your likeness into literally any scene you can imagine. Apparently, the team internally had so much fun with this, they decided to build the entire social platform around it. This was the vision coming straight from the top. Sam Altman didn't frame Sora 2 as just another entertainment app. No, this was a tool to unlock a whole new era of creativity, making it unbelievably easy for anyone to go from a simple thought to a fully finished video. And honestly, for the first 24 hours, it looked like he was right. The app was just flooded with these moments of pure awe. People were making one-shot vintage ads for their small businesses, creating many documentaries about famous memes, and running these physics tests that were so realistic, creators said it felt like watching simulation code run in real time. But that initial wave of pure excitement, it did not last long. In fact, it crashed almost immediately into this huge wall of intense criticism. A whole movement popped up online, and it had a name for what Sora 2 was creating: Brainrot. This quote from Ed Newton-Rex just perfectly sums up the main complaint. He and so many others didn't see a creativity tool. They saw a machine designed to churn out an infinite supply of low-quality, attention-grabbing content, or, as he put it, slop. And the criticism went even deeper than just the quality of the content. It really touched on this feeling of betrayal. The world's best and brightest minds, who we thought were working on AGI, artificial general intelligence, to solve humanity's biggest problems, well, it turns out they were being used to build what critics were calling an infinite slot machine. And then this tweet went absolutely viral because it captured that feeling so brutally and so well. It basically framed OpenAI's entire journey as this tragic fall from grace, from having these noble, world-changing ambitions to building a product that people felt was actively harmful. So this rebellion, it wasn't just some vague feeling, right? It was built on some really specific arguments. Critics were terrified about creating convincing deepfakes, like fake security footage of someone committing a crime. They argued the app was just designed for addiction, using the same old tricks. And at a fundamental level, a lot of people just felt it was a massive waste of talent and computing power that could be going toward, actual scientific progress. Which, of course, brings up the huge question: why? I mean, why would OpenAI, a company whose entire mission is to build AGI, suddenly pivot to making a short-form video app and invite all this controversy? Well, there are two competing stories here. You've got the official line from OpenAI, which is all about responsibility, that by launching an app, they can build in safety controls from the ground up and really optimize for creativity. Then, there's the cynical view, and that's that it's a pure business move. Capture human attention, which is a really scarce resource, to make money and fund their incredibly expensive research. And you can see this split in public opinion perfectly in the data. On a LinkedIn poll, 63% of people saw Sora 2 as a creativity explosion. But then you hop over to a similar poll on Twitter, or X, and the sentiment is almost the exact opposite, with the majority calling it a brainrot machine. It really seems like the platform you hang out on pretty much decides how you see this thing. But here's what's really fascinating. This whole debate wasn't just happening out here, in public. The source material shows that even inside OpenAI, their own employees had serious reservations. They were worried they were just building another attention-sucking slop machine, and had to be convinced that it could actually be a pro-social, positive thing. And this debate, happening both inside and outside of OpenAI, really gets at the bigger picture. The super intense reaction to Sora 2 isn't happening in a vacuum. It's plugging directly into a much larger conversation we are all having about our relationship with technology. Just look at this number. It's staggering. In just 2 years, the percentage of teens who believe social media is actively harming them and their peers has jumped from 32% to almost half. There's this growing, widespread frustration with the downsides of our digital lives. So when Sora 2 launched, it didn't get a fresh start. It inherited more than a decade of built-up frustration and exhaustion with apps designed to mine our attention. To a lot of people, it just felt like we were getting a more powerful, more efficient version of a product we've already decided is probably bad for us. And this backlash is having very real consequences. The same day Sora 2 launched, a former OpenAI researcher announced his own new company, Periodic Labs, with this tweet. He was directly recruiting talent to use AI for fundamental science, and he positioned it as the polar opposite of building another slot machine. People are voting with their feet. So ultimately, the Sora 2 controversy has basically crystallized a debate that we've been kind of avoiding for years. It's not an abstract question anymore. As these unbelievably powerful tools become public, we actually have to decide what we want them for. Do we want them to cure diseases or create endless entertainment? AI is forcing the conversation, and now the choice is ours.